Yep.
And you can do that as you're approaching. And then the third thing would say is evangelism is about building relationships. So spend time with people, open your home to have dinner with your coworkers, schoolmates, take a pie to your neighbor for no reason at all, but don't take a store-bought pie. Um, Take treats to the fire station, help people load groceries in the cars down at the Albertsons. It's a particularly rainy day, get you one of those big golf umbrellas as people step outside, hold the umbrella, walk them to their car, even offer to help them put the groceries in the car. I mean, it's something simple. It shows that you care about people. They don't know you from Adam. If on the walk out there they say something, I really appreciate you doing this. Thank you so much. Say, not a problem. I just want people to know the love of Christ. Oh, are
Yes.
you a Christian? Yeah, I'm a Christian. And where do you go to church? And there's your conversation. It's all started just because you did something nice. Volunteer. If you have time, volunteer at hospital, at a school, a nursing home, a library, wherever they can use a helping hand, and just engage, 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 engage. Um, the more people you engage, the more opportunities you have to get people into Bible studies. The more Bible studies you have, the more people you will convert. You won't
Yeah.
win them all, but just because you won't win them all doesn't mean you don't try for some.
That's right. Well, like we compete. Like you said, running the race, you compete to win. You
Yeah.
might not win the way you feel, but you'll be farther ahead than if you never competed.
Yeah. I mean, look at Jesus again in John 4. Where is Jesus? Jesus is sitting at the water cooler of the day.
Yeah.
There's a water cooler at work. People will eventually go there. That's where Jesus was. And someone was sure to come by and he would engage them. And it happened to be this woman from Samaria. And I'm sure she's thinking, I'm glad he sat there.
Yeah.
Uh, and and then of course that be sincere again. This is an outgrowth of your nature. If don't force it. Uh, okay, so sometimes we're introverted and we've got to force ourselves to talk, but we sometimes we just need to retrain ourselves
Right.
to be more open and speak of those things.
Well, he asked from her something.
Hmm.
He didn't just come up and he didn't go, "Hey, do you know about the Messiah or anything?" Like he just
Yeah.
said, "Can I get some water?" Like that's
Do you
it.
know?
And
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And we generally start on the mundane and we move to the spiritual. That's what Jesus
Hmm.
did. If we look at John 4,
Yep.
I think that Christological method is something that we can look to. We can start with the mundane. Uh, it doesn't have to be someone coming to church with me. It can be, hey, me and a couple of families from work went bowling, the mundane. But
Hmm.
while bowling, we struck up a conversation about spiritual things, the spiritual. We moved from the mundane to the spiritual. It's the way Jesus often did it.
That's it. So anybody can invite people to do stuff. Anybody can go volunteer to help people. That is
Absolutely.
something that you can do. And then you just got to have that next level of engaging, and that's
Hmm.
that's it. So you got another like evangelism story.
Sure. So this was probably 10 years ago, and I got a call from a sister in the congregation where I was preaching at the time. Her name was Ruth. And Ruth and her husband, Bronny, were at the hospital. Uh, Her mother in law was in the ICU. And so at certain times during the day, they would open the ICU for visitors. And then they would, might only be a 15-minute period. And then those visitors would go back to the ICU waiting room. And so they were there for a few days. And there was this woman who was there with a small child that was also there. And finally, Ruth was talking to her and she said, who are you here for? That's a common question in an ICU waiting room like that. And the woman got a little nervous and she looked at her and they'd already been talking about some other stuff. So she felt somewhat comfortable with Ruth and she told her, she said, well, honestly, I was living with my aunt. She kicked me out of the house. I've been living in the car and the weather got cold. And so we came in here to spend the night. And Ruth called me immediately. The church building was across the street from the hospital. I was a chaplain at the hospital, so I grabbed my chaplain badge. I ran across the street, talked to the woman, found out what her story was. We got her into some temporary housing. Uh, a month or so later, we got her into a more permanent situation. Uh, Julie and I, my wife, we began studying with her. and she eventually obeyed the gospel. She was still there in that town for about 2 years after that, and then she wanted to move back to the Northeast in Connecticut, where her father was, and was going to take care of her father. And before she even left, she was talking to one of the elders, and she said, "Can you help me find a congregation in the Northeast?" And so we found her a congregation, and as far as I know, she's still attending and very faithful up there. And so it's here it was just a Christian who said something.
That's right. The engaging part, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, yeah. So we have talked about being sincere and approachable, right? Engaging and getting on common ground and engaging and listening. So what are some what can we call it? Like do a call to action for everybody listening. Like what's some things we can encourage them to do?
That my mantra: just say something.
Just say something.
Starting a conversation, even if you feel like it might be the wrong thing, we oftentimes have an opportunity to fix it. But I dare say that most of the time, whatever you say will start you on the conversation you need to have.
Right.
Don't be so afraid.
No. Open your mouth and you could save someone's life. Just
Absolutely.
From that. Now, let's give a practical, maybe a practical goal. So everybody goes shopping for food. So when you go into the grocery store or whatever, as you're checking out, just say hello to the teller and say, "How you doing?" There
Absolutely. Hey,
Try
they've
that.
got a name. They've got a name badge on. Call them by their name. I would say meet someone new this week, whether it's grocery store, wherever it is. That should be your challenge. Meet someone new and be observant to your surroundings and engage a stranger on common ground. If you watch any of the detective shows, they're looking around for clues and they see things that a lot of us don't see maybe. Well, be that detective. Look around, be observant, figure out, look, if they're walking through the aisles of a grocery store in Colorado and they're wearing an Oklahoma Sooner shirt, hey, I've already got common ground. Oh, are you a Sooner fan? Are you from Oklahoma? Yeah, I'm from Oklahoma. Well, what part of Oklahoma did you grow up in? Because I grew up in Oklahoma. Hey, we've got common ground. Maybe for you, you're an Alabama fan, and you see someone wearing an Auburn shirt, and it might be a playful, "Oh no, they let the riffraff in," or something like that, about their Alabama, rivalries, are a good place to start. It's the mundane, but use that to jump off to the spiritual.
Right. And everybody listening, just think about this. Someone came to you and told you about Jesus. And even more importantly, Jesus came himself, and he gave up a lot of things to come tell us about the hope we have in him. So he said, "Follow me." So we follow him, just like you talked about. So that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
You've been listening to Be Brave. The world right now is a crazy place, and sharing the love of God is the most important thing we can do right now. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hit up gobebrave.org. Remember, the love of God is the most powerful force in the universe. Learn how to love like Jesus. See you next time.